Oh, man, nothing like weekend drama on Alex Anzalone's Twitter page.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, everybody. It is another week of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. Matt Dery with you on a Monday, February 16th, and a Tuesday, February 17th. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen. And Locked On Lions today, brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Great to have you guys all back for a full week of Locked On Lions as we get ready for next week's Combine. Yes, it is a mock draft Monday. As you know, it is tradition on this program to do a mock draft each and every Monday in the months of February, March, and a lot of April, which we will do today as we'll tell you who the Lions would take at number 17 in the eyes of one Field Yates at ESPN.com and his mock draft. Also, the Miami Dolphins are cleaning house and cleaning up their cap space. And a couple of players that they let go today could have a fit with Detroit. We'll tell you about that coming up momentarily. Got to talk at the end of the show today about our first Sunday without football yesterday, which was brutal, absolutely brutal. But first, speaking of brutal, man, Gaines Media poster boy. Oh, that's right. The flowing locks, the blonde bombshell, number 34, Alex Anzalone, all over that Twitter machine this weekend. Or as some of you like to call it, X. I won't call it that. But Alex Anzalone was on his Twitter this weekend taking shots at the Lions' social media team. Now, we've got conflicting reports here on just how this looks and how this feels. But let me just say this. My first reaction when I saw Alex Anzalone complaining about not being on the Detroit Lions social media video talking about pass breakups just lends me to believe that this dude is gone, on his way out, and gave the Lions 5 very good years at inside linebacker. But of course, he is a free agent. Last year, he had a little bit of a beef with the team during training camp over his contract. The Lions did offer up some bonus money and a little bit of restructuring, but they did not offer him any kind of extension or anything like that. And he will hit the unrestricted free agent open market coming up on March the 9th. So Anzalone over the weekend, responding to a Detroit Lions on Twitter video put out by the team about passes defended, responded with a quote tweet, quote, had a career high 9 PDs and not one made it. And other free agents were on the video too, end quote. So little Sunday wine from Alex Anzalone, little wine and cheese Sunday from Anzalone taking pot shots at the Lions for not including him on the video, but saying, hey, other free agents, including Meek Robertson, were on the passes defended video yesterday. Then he doubles down because a lot of people responded and basically were like taking shots at him. And Anzalone then, as a fan, noted the general love from him from the fan base. Anzalone responded by saying, quote, apparently no love from our social media team. They don't know how to behave, end quote. So back-to-back tweets from the poster boy ripping on the Lions social media team. Then later in the day yesterday, we're getting into a need for content season here in February. It's funny when I do, we've been doing this show for 10 years. We bring you great content. We bring you great guests. We'll have some this week. But it's funny how sometimes people go, what are you talking about in the summertime? Or, man, you do this show every day throughout the year, Monday through Friday? I'm like, yeah. Look, we got schedule release. We got free agency. We got the draft, the combine, There's always something to talk about. Always. Right now, between Super Bowl and combine, yes, it does get a little slow. But I would have led with this regardless. Anzalone deleted those two tweets later yesterday, then responded with, "I've always had beef with our social media team people." 3 exclamation points and some laughing emojis. And then also wrote, "Some of you guys take my ex a little too serious. Love y'all though, LOL." Well, if you're just kidding and you just take shots at the social media team in jest, then Alex, why did you delete those 2 tweets earlier yesterday? Again, the Lions have a decision to make. Look, the Lions have made their decision as far as I'm concerned. Alex Anzalone is hitting unrestricted free agency, and the question has to be, did the Lions tell him, look, to quote Boogie Down Productions, the bridge is over. So now Alex is just burning it. You know, there could be a sense here where the team said, look, we love you. You've been great. You probably are looking for a multi-year deal and you want to get paid. And we're not in the market to do that because we've got to pay Jack Campbell, who, oh, by the way, is wearing the green dot on his helmet now and took over those responsibilities this year from Alex. And they also know they have to, re-up eventually Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, and Sam Laporta. There just isn't enough money to go around. You cannot keep everybody. The Lions liked Jonah Jackson a few years ago, but they knew the LA Rams were going to come calling with a lot more money. Can't keep everybody. And the Lions have done a heck of a job of trying their best to retain as many people as possible. Alex is 31. Been here 5 years, been a part of it. He's a good player. And in a perfect world, you want to keep good players. I've said that on this show all the time. But taking shots at the social media team, not once but twice, deleting tweets, then coming back with the just kidding routine, it looks a little whiny and a little babyish. And I'll be honest with you, I have to be fair to you, the listeners and viewers. These are the kind of immature things that I called Jamison Williams out on. And I got to call Anzalone out. This just looks petty. If you were just joking, then you shouldn't have deleted them. Where are my videos? Well, look, Alex, to his credit, last year showed up to training camp, held his presser, said he wasn't happy with his contract, said ask Brad, ask Dan, and then played every game. I think he played 16 out of 17 games. He's a good player. He's excellent in coverage. He's a guy you want to keep, but you can't keep everybody. And if he's looking for a 2, 3, 4-year deal and looking to get big money, I don't think that's happening here, especially not when you've got Jack Campbell. And I said it the other day, if the Lions are looking for a replacement and a quick 1-year Brad Holmes veteran deal type of thing, there's 2 guys out there the Lions could bring in that would fit what the Lions do. Number one is Bobby Wagner, who I know is up there in age, but still a very good player. And the other one was brought up today on Pro Football Focus at PFF in the article, 5 veteran free agents chasing their first Super Bowl ring in 2026, an article written by Dery Carragher. He lists Demario Davis as a guy that a linebacker needy team would need. Now, Davis is 37, but inside backer, Saints connection with Dan Campbell, and had a career high in tackles last year and had the highest PFF run defense grade of his career, 88.9. And in the piece written on PFF, Demario Davis could be a consideration for the Chicago Bears due to his connection with Dennis Allen, the former Saints head coach, who, of course, is the Bears defensive coordinator. Again, if the Lions figure out, look, we can offer Demario Davis a 1-year deal. We don't have to give him multiple years, which is what Anzalone would want. He's not going to ask for, Anzalone made what, $6.5 million last year? Don't think Davis is going to ask for that at 37 years of age. Davis might take a 1-year deal for $2-3 million, maybe, to play on a Super Bowl contender. Because the last few years, he has not been on one with the Saints. Keep an eye on that. All right, coming up next, what about a couple of former Miami Dolphins who got cut today? No, I'm not talking about Tyreek Hill. I don't think the cheetah is coming to Detroit, but there could be some other fits for Detroit, which we will talk about next, right here on Locked On Lions, Monday edition. And Locked On Lions for today, brought to you by our friends at Zocdoc. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sure, you want someone who's a network nearby, has availability, but also you want a doctor who listens and makes you feel comfortable and explains things very clearly. And that kind of doctor does exist. And find them is easy with Zocdoc. All right. Zocdoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering over 200 specialties, from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and even eye care. All right. I'll admit it. I've put off doctor's appointments longer than I should have between work and life and everything else. Certainly it's easy to delay, but ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can search by specialty or symptoms and actually build a care team that works for you. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a doctor that you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. All right, welcome back in, everybody. Matt Dery with you. It is a Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Off season doesn't just exist for anybody. What about the Everydayer Club? Join the group chat, talk Lions year round with the Everydayer Club. Get every episode of the show ad-free. All you got to do is go to lockedonlions.supercast.com or hit the link in the show notes, lockedonlions.supercast.com, and join our Everydayer Club. I'm on the Discord chat with all of you, and I was chatting up Steve Facine today, one of our Everydayers and part of the club, and we were chatting today all about the Everydayer Club and certainly the Detroit Lions. A lot certainly is going on, that is for sure. All right, so news of the day around the NFL, and this was a big news because the Miami Dolphins have a new general manager and a new head coach, and so they are cleaning house and roster purging to get under the salary cap. They cleared more than $50 million in cap space today by cutting ties with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, the wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, the very good and former All-Pro receiver, edge rusher Bradley Chubb, and offensive lineman James Daniels, ex of Iowa. Got a new GM and John Eric Sullivan, and new head coach and Jeff Hafley, who I think, by the way, is going to do a pretty good job down in Miami. So there you go. There are players hit the market now that were released by the Miami Dolphins. No, I don't see Tyreek Hill here. No, I don't see Westbrook-Ikhine here as well. I don't think the Lions are in the market for another receiver, and I think they're going to try their best to keep Khalif Raymond, who, of course, is a free agent. But what about Bradley Chubb or James Daniels? Both guys play positions of need for the Lions. Chubb, edge rusher last year, finally was healthy in Miami, played in all 17 games, will be 30 years old this summer, 47 tackles, 48 quarterback pressures, 8.5 sacks, and forced 2 fumbles. He was the number 5 overall pick in the 2018 draft. And look, Bradley Chubb was a monster when he was in Denver. He hasn't been the same player since tearing his ACL years ago, but still could be an interesting veteran to bring in. I'm all for bringing in anybody to play edge rusher and somebody that has done it before. James Daniels, second round pick back in 2018, was with the Bears for many, many years, playing guard and center, and played right guard this past year for the Dolphins. Missed most of the last 2 years with a ruptured Achilles, and this year tore his pec. But Daniels was a very good offensive lineman in the Big Ten with Iowa, can play center, can play guard, and is also 30 years of age. So there's two players right here with kind of filling a need and veteran players. Chubb, to me, is the better player than Daniels, but a James Daniels signing would be interesting. Wondering what that kind of contract would look like. Would he want a multi-year deal? Will he come here on a one-year deal to try to prove himself after being injured the last couple of years? Again, the Lions, before they signed anybody like a James Daniels, would have to probably know where they stand with Taylor Decker, where they stand certainly in not renegotiating, but cleaning up the contracts of Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, restructuring Sewell, and doing all of that. But also, what would they do with Graham Glasgow? As pointed out by Justin Rogers in the Detroit Football Network today at DFN, Glasgow carries an $8.44 million cap hit this year. His release would clear $5.56 million in cap space. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. And if you're bringing in James Daniels, Glasgow's gone. But I think that the team is going to move away from him anyway. Daniels isn't bad. All right. Out of Iowa, I loved him. I don't think he's ever been great in the league. Chubb obviously has been great. Both guys have come off of injuries, and this was a no-brainer for the Dolphins to clear those spots for cap space. But it's two veterans to take a look at if you are Brad Holmes. And I mentioned Cesar Ruiz on Friday as another guy that could be a cap casualty of the Saints or even acquired via trade. And again, that Saints connection with Brad Campbell, Dan Campbell, whether it's Demario Davis, whether it's Cesar Ruiz, keep an eye on that. All right. We know the Lions have dipped into that pool before. All right. Mock draft Monday. Let's do the business today and take a look at what Field Yates of ESPN.com had in his latest mock draft at the end of last week. A lot of these mocks are all the same top five. I always like to give you the top five before we get to the Lions pick at 17. Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. He's a flipping champion, number one of the Raiders. Arvell Reese, edge, Ohio State, an outside linebacker, number two to the Jets. Francis Mauigoa, the big tackle from Miami, going third to Arizona. Some have had Spencer Fano go there in this mock draft with Yates. He's got the big tackle from the U. It's all about the U. David Bailey, edge, Texas Tech, number 4 to Tennessee. And shout out to Tennessee Titans, a legend, Lily Mazaway. And number 5, Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State, to the Giants at number 5. That is very, very early to be taking a safety, but this is what Field Yates has. As far as when you get to Detroit and number 17, keep this in mind. Caleb Banks, D-tackle from Florida and high motor, high stud player, goes 16 in this mock draft to the New York Football Jets. The Lions at number 17, according to Field Yates, would take the big tackle from Georgia, Monroe Freeling. Yates writes, quote, with Taylor Decker's future uncertain, the Lions must shore up the left tackle spot. Freeling is a player I'm higher on than most draft analysts, ranking him third among offensive tackles. I believe he's got a real shot to skyrocket his draft stock between now and April. Freeling has only 18 career starts and under 1,600 snaps played, but the upside is massive. He stands at nearly 6'7", 315 pounds with 35-inch arms. Those measurables combined with great pass protection skills are hard to find. Freeling allowed only 2 sacks last season. So Freeling was second team All-SEC this year and was the left tackle at Georgia. Remember, Tate Ratledge was his teammate at Georgia his first 2 years. So there's the Georgia connection. Brad Holmes, we know, likes SEC linemen, but he was a backup. Freeling was in 2023 and started just 4 games at left tackle in 2024, his sophomore year. Started out as a backup his first 2 years. So as Yates pointed out, he really hadn't started until this year, but had a good year. Second team All-SEC, 6'7", 315 pounds, and he's a tackle. He's a tackle. So this would be your Taylor Decker replacement at either left tackle or if they slide Penei Sewell over at right tackle. You can't go wrong taking a big man at 17. You can't. Hopefully by April 28th or whatever it is, we'll know the future of Taylor Decker. And even if we don't, the Lions still, with their depth needs, would likely think about some sort of offensive lineman at number 17. So Monroe Freeling is a guy that certainly a lot of people like. Again, some boards have the Utah tackles and Maui go ahead of Freeling. In this one, Field Yates has Freeling going to the Lions at 17. What players will the Lions have passed up that go right after him in this mock draft? Well, Akeem Mesidor, the edge from Miami that we've talked about. Keldrick Falk, the edge from Auburn, goes to Dallas at 20. We've talked about. The big tackle, Ian Akor from Arizona State, goes 23 in this mock draft. Zion Young, who's a very good edge rusher from Missouri, would go to the Bears at 25. So there's some edges and linemen taken right after in this mock draft. But Freeling, I would like at 17. Why not? Kid's a monster. He's huge. Very, very big kid that would definitely fit what the Lions are doing, certainly in this draft. All right, coming up next, we had a Sunday yesterday without NFL football, and it was abysmal. It was brutal. We'll talk about that coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. All right, I always love talking about FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, Pistons, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. Now, not only can you not only can your pick cash in, if I could read, but it could also send you to the NBA Finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the Finals. Play your game with FanDuel. They are the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And the podcast today brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life right now. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day. You get updates right in their TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing that an expert is taking care of you. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, you just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate, get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. TurboTax.com/local. All right, so yesterday was the first day that we had without NFL football for the last, 4 months, 5 months. That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal yesterday. Now, this is why the NFL is king. This is why the NFL reigns supreme. This is why the NFL just has it all. Some of you might argue that this past season and this past playoffs just weren't all that exciting. And heck, the Super Bowl was brutal. All right. We did have some very, very good games early on in the playoffs, some games that came down to the end and everything else. But it kind of ended, with Seattle and New England, and the game wasn't anything special. But man, we just love this sport because everybody's got a chance, right? Baseball, we're looking at salary issues and everything else. NBA, and I know the All-Star game was actually really entertaining yesterday, but for some people, it's just not what it used to be. Hockey, very niche sport, everything else. College athletics right now with what we're going through with NIL and just not being able to recognize the players because every year the things change NFL's got it, man. They've got it. There's a reason why they are number one. And yesterday, for me, not being able to watch football, and I was home. I watched Indiana, Illinois on CBS, college basketball. My son, I've told you many times, went to IU. I've become a Hoosier fan the last few years. And heck, I watch more Indiana basketball than I watch my own alma mater right now because our Syracuse basketball program is just, it's irrelevant, which is terrible. But next year, hopefully, we'll have some changes and new AD, new head coach. We'll see. But I watched Indiana, Illinois, and I flipped on at 3:10. I went to the USA Network, and I watched the Olympic hockey game, USA and Germany. And Team US just dominated the game. It was a good game. It was fine. But, like, I was in the middle of that hockey game yesterday about 4 o'clock going, man, like, this sucks. First Sunday without football, and I was just jonesing for it. Like I said, other things were on. I didn't go. I wasn't in terrible shape, but it just goes to show how much we crave the game, love the game. Games are always entertaining. You're always tuning in, no matter if you have a rooting interest or not, And I look, the Olympics, people are watching, and we're going to hopefully we get US and Canada and hockey and everything else, but there's just nothing like the NFL. There just isn't. The ratings prove it. The excitement level proves it. The parity and the chance for every team. And I get it. There are certain organizations that just don't win. Jets fans, Browns fans, and others, but there's nothing like NFL Sundays. And yesterday was rough. Not having first Sunday without NFL since, go back to August and even some preseason games. So, all right, that'll do it for us here on this Monday edition of Locked On Lions. We are back again tomorrow. Don't forget to make us your first listen. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Locked On Lions, TikTok, Locked On Lions, Facebook, wherever you are on social media-wise. So are we, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network.